Okay. Hello everybody and welcome to the March stream on catch-up of Longplay games, Smugglers of Cygnus, Legends of Luisa, Llama, all that kind of good stuff. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cover all this good stuff, and we're going to show you the first in-flight demo of Smugglers of Cygnus, now on Godot 4, which just came out on, I think, Tuesday. Now, we've been porting our art assets to Godot 4 for quite some time. However, we did not actually start porting the code assets until they reached the code freeze at about RC6. So, the code stuff is going to be coming in really, really rapidly. You know, we've already got the basic flight controller in, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to jump right into that. First up, this is the new wallpaper, and this was, of course, captured in Godot at both the HD resolution and the regular resolution. And so you're getting a little sneak peek of that right here. This, of course, is free to Patreon members, so you guys can get a hold of that anytime you like. And people who aren't on the Patreon, you know, it's only $1 a month if you want to get in on the wallpapers and other cool stuff. This is showing off one of the single-player cockpits, as opposed to the side-by-side cockpit. You know, there's different ships have different cockpits. You know, the players can pick which ones they like for things. And as you can see here, we have the new Spectre up to no good. Whatever they're doing, I don't know. There's some folks outside, and maybe they're loading something, maybe they're unloading something. I don't know. Whatever it is, you know, the Spectre class wasn't live for 2 days before somebody was already doing something with it. Let's see. Let me get the comments up a little larger here so I can see anything that you guys have to say. Because I just realized that they're really, really small. Okay. And as you can see, we got the new AI character is up on... Oh, yes. And welcome, little fella. I appreciate you being here. I was talking to you, but online in the chat, but Jess wanted me to make sure that I mentioned you specifically. So thank you for being here, little fella. I appreciate it very much. And thank you everybody else who's here. So you can see we got our new AI avatar up. I've replaced the old one from the Cygnus Pizza Race days with the new one. This is the one that's going to be going forward in Godot and everything else. It's a much, much better one. I think it's much more futuristic looking, and I like it a lot more, and you can see we've already got it set up. Unlike the previous one, the players can paint this one, so it can be customized for player colors. It can have player decals. And another one of the Patreon benefits, you can see right there where I have the Longplay Games logo, all the backers on the Patreon can have their logos available in the game to place on ships or characters or anything they'd like. So, you know, that's a huge plus that you guys get as an advantage, is the ability to do that. We will actually, you know, ship it for you that way. So let's, without any further ado, get right into actually some gameplay, huh? So I've got my gamepad, you know, hooked up here. I got the gamepad controls set up very quickly, and they're very early gamepad controls, but I know how important gamepad is to everybody, so I wanted to make sure that mouse and keyboard and gamepad were supported as quickly as possible, so I put those in last night. So as you can see here, I've got an S version and I've got a non-S version. That's because there's no ship switcher yet. By the time this goes to itch, which will be very, very soon, probably in the next week, there will be the ability to change ships and all that other kind of stuff. But this is a pre-alpha test flight, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the El Toro, the one you guys are long familiar with. Oh, I ran the wine version. Whoops. That's okay. Let me close the wine version, because there's no sense in me emulating it before we actually run it. That would just be silly pants. Let me launch the actually correct one. Yeah. I know. I told you to terminate it. Okay. Let me actually run the native version, because that will run better. Okay. So I've got it in windowed mode here, just so that I can control all the YouTube stuff. But let me go ahead and put it in in larger window mode so that you guys can see it bigger. We'll go ahead and we'll maximize this. Maximo! Okay. So it's running at 60 frames per second because that's what I have my stream set at. It runs at 144, which is my actual VSync when I'm not streaming. And you can see here the SDFGI, the ray tracing, does a really nice job with the lighting and the color. You can see the lights off the sun are coming through very nicely. And let's go ahead and approach the station here. You've got a lot of the same controls that we had before, but you know they're still in very early versions. And then this station here is actually, you know, almost exactly ported from Unreal. We had to do very little to it aside from get the basics figured out. You're gonna slap your logo everywhere? That's a fantastic idea. You should definitely do that. It's a great logo, and it's gonna look really good on like wings and all kinds of things. And the thing is, when you guys are streaming it, it'll make your content really unique because nobody else will be able to pass it off. You'll have your logo on your character. You'll have your logo on your ship, you know. Now, regular decals will be available in the game, so you can put stripes and, you know, other cool decals. You know, you can put your name on your ship and stuff like that. But only the Patreon backers will get the ability to just simply send me a arbitrary image and have me put it into the decal set. You can see we're flying over the center of the station here. Now I have added a few different speeds, basically just some stand-in speeds. We haven't got the actual proper gravity-based speed going on yet. But it's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. The MSAA that I have turned on, we're at the first attempt on the MSAA, so we're using the MSAA anti-aliasing right now. There's a few other options. There's FXAA and the TAA. Oh, look at that. You can see the station reflected in the... That's pretty tight. You can see the station reflected in the back of the ship there. Yes, lucky you. You are indeed a Commodore backer, which means you're going to be getting not just the ship here, but the Spectre ship and the Commodore ship as well. Though I have not yet ported the Commodore ship in here. We will be. Now, in the pre-flight demo, you can fly all the way out to the planet. And I can see there's a little bit of atmospheric issue with the thing. I still need to set the atmosphere distance. The planet is still very much a work in progress. I'm getting the Rayleigh scattering working and all that other kind of stuff. So once we have that working, it'll be a little bit more like the original planet. But, you know, it's a good start, I think. Okay, so this is this ship. And we already have the interior set up for it, but I haven't had the interior cameras turned on yet. So now, let's go take a look at the other ship. So let me go ahead and close out of this. And now let's go fly the Spectre around. And you can see we don't have our logos set up to start or anything yet on this. This is still a pre-alpha test just for the backers. And anybody who's on the Patreon is already able to get a hold of this. I sent a link out for it last night. So here, for the first time on stream, is the new Spectre. Again, this is completely colorable and customizable. In fact, I'm actually going to go over some of the colors and customization options with you guys so that you can see just what kind of color combos you can do on all these. We're going to cover all that kind of good stuff. This model is what I would call alpha ready, as in it looks good enough to put in the alpha. This model is not final, so there's still a few things that aren't perfect. But it's good enough. It'll do for right now. So let's get it flying around and have a look. And as you can see, we have the spring back, so if your visual is off to one side or whatever and you're looking at your ship, as soon as you stop looking, about 1 second later, the view will spring back. So this ship, unlike the El Toro, which you were seeing a minute ago, this ship actually features an interior cargo bay, and you can in fact walk more or less the length of the ship. I haven't decided if I'm going to have it be one piece or if I'll have a bulkhead, you know, that you basically would change between sections on. But we'll see. I probably will because it'll make it more performant when you're actually playing the game. So there's an actual cargo bay back here that opens up. Thank you. I'm glad you like the station. Yeah, the station, I think, turned out really well, and the station benefits from the ray tracing a lot. So this, by the way, what I'm demoing is entirely ray tracing. This is the new SDF-GI, which is Godot's AMD-optimized ray tracing. And I'm running it on NVIDIA, so it's not like it's impossible to do. I don't know if my collision's actually going to work here, because I haven't turned on with the station yet, but we'll fly around it and not take any chance of just bumping into it and looking silly. So the whole idea is that you can get a tremendous amount of, you know, gameplay and possibilities and graphical options out of this game. Now the ray tracing is going to be a feature along with the 4K textures that you're seeing right now of the Deluxe Edition. The Deluxe Edition you get with the Patreon, or you can get the Deluxe Edition for an extra $10. The only major differences between the Deluxe Edition are going to be the ray tracing, which will be turned off in the regular one because there's no sense in saddling people with performance issues, and the 4K textures, because it's a lot larger. With 4K textures, this game weighs in at about 1 to 2 gigs. With the 2K textures, it weighs in at like a couple hundred megs. So, you know, not trying to saddle people with stuff. The save games will be completely compatible between them, so if you decide to upgrade to Deluxe later, you can always do so. The music I'm playing right now on stream is actually the game music. It's not coming from this particular pre-test demo because I don't have it turned on yet, but I will be. And of course, the soundtrack is available to backers. You're all probably tired of hearing me talk about the Patreon, but it does make a difference. The Patreon's the only reason we've been able to get as far as we have. So soon, not quite yet, but soon, you'll be able to actually go inside of these and land. I've changed the landing mechanism completely from the patch 10 demo. So what will happen is you're actually going to land on a little freight elevator, and then the freight elevator will take you down and dock you on the inside. It just seems tidier than the wandering around inside of a space station colliding on things. Okay, so that is the Spectre. Okay. So let me close that. Okay, before we go on to Luisa Llama, let me do a quick overview of some of the things that you'll be able to change, some of the functions, some of the features in the new version. So I'm going to launch Godot 4 here. We're going to jump into our Smugglers version. Okay, so you see in here, you know, how the collision distance is set up and everything, right? It's actually fairly tight to the object. It shouldn't be too bad. You know, you're not going to be having a huge problem running into things. But we're not trying to make it pixel accurate because that would just make life harder on people than it needs to be. Oh, you think the station's changed a lot? Well, I'm glad you like the changes then. Oh, unless it's been a long time since you've seen the station. Yeah, the station's been like that for probably the last 2 patches, but I'm not sure what patch you downloaded and played last. But so let's take a look at the Spectre, and let's look at some of the things that we can customize on her. So the first thing is, we've got a spot right here, sort of in the light blue at the moment. This is one of the spots where you can put your ship information. There'll be the same spot on both sides, and you'll be able to put the name of the ship or something right there. The parts that you see in different colors can actually all be recolored, as can the materials. Inside, this right here is actually an observation deck that you'll be able to use inside the ship. Hey, welcome, Metallical. You got here just in time for the overview of the features of the Spectre. I'm so glad you could make it. So this is actually an observation deck, so you can actually look out from inside this. It'll be fully appointed. We'll try to make it configurable. It's going to be a lower priority than getting the bridge set up, but eventually this will be, you know, a ready room or whatever you want to use it for. It'll be a room with a big window that looks out. So the main thing that we've got the piloting and everything up here. One pilot sits here, and then you've got the rest of the bridge open. And of course you've got the nice armor plating. That's what this color is right here. That's the nice armor plating around the area where people sit, where the passengers are. Back here you've got the cargo bay, and the cargo bay goes all the way up to about here. So you can store a fair amount of cargo, but a whole lot less. Oh yes, I'm sure you have a name in mind, Delical. I'm looking forward to it. You can ignore the kind of hokey jet things for right now. I haven't gotten a chance to do any particle effects in Godot yet, so they're just something quick that I made, so don't worry about that too much. Okay, so let's do the first thing that we can do, which is why don't we go ahead and change what the actual skin looks like. So we'll do that here, so it's just real easy to see. I'll just do this real quick so that you guys can see. Okay, we're going to go grab some of the hull materials, and we're going to just change the color real quick so you can see some of the different colors. So this, for example, would be in a blue pattern. This would be like in a really dark gray, like almost black and red. If you wanted to see it like in, for example, like a bright orange, that gives you a chance to see some of the modeling a little better on it. And then red. Now these are just pre-made patterns, right? You're probably thinking, hey, you know, I don't want to have some hokey pre-made pattern. I want to make it whatever color I personally want to make it. So let's grab one of these pre-made colors, and I'll show you what capabilities exist for the player to actually change things. Now, these parameters are going to be largely exposed into the paint tool. Remember, I've been talking about the paint shop for a long time? Oh yeah, I thought you'd like the dark black Adelico. I made that almost specifically for you. It doesn't screenshot very well though, so I haven't shared that one too much. So, you guys know that since the early days we've been talking about customization. And I haven't put the paint shop into the game yet. As you can see, the capacity exists for it. So let's take a look here and see what kind of things you can do. You'll have a color wheel kind of like this, where you can just basically change the colors however you like. We're going to make it really hideous and obvious here just for fun. Okay, and then you've got an alternate color that you can use. And this alternate color can also be changed on like a color wheel basis to be pretty much any color you'd like. Let's make it again something really hideous and obvious. So as you can see, you can actually, you know, set up a pretty customized color. You can also change this color, which will change a few of the other pieces as well. So you can do a lot of different customization options with it. And then the other things that you can do is you can change some of them entirely. Like for example, the wings and the engines are on their own color material wheel, so you can actually change them independently. So you can set a whole bunch of different color options that you like and make it look however you want. For example, the armor on here. Let's go back here for a second. If I were to grab some of the armor patterns here, we can change the armor, which I think is this one. Yeah. We can change the armor to be a different color. You can have like gray armor or red armor or orange armor or whatever you like. And likewise, the armor can also have its customization set. So it could be different colors if you wanted as well. So you could make a pretty unique, maybe horrible, but a pretty unique ship that looks however you want. We're going to have decals available that will sit on the wings, and probably on the tail, and very likely on the spine, so you'll be able to put some stuff on it to actually customize it with like stripes and things like that. Oh yeah, I think you're going to get some really interesting ship designs out there. I do not doubt that in the slightest. Yeah, I don't want it to save any of that. In fact, I don't want it to save any of the color changes that I just made. Let me just go ahead and close it before it auto-saves and causes me any trouble. And we'll hop back in. Unlike Unreal, it loads pretty much instantaneously. Unreal takes 15-20 minutes to launch, but Godot 4 launches, you know, immediately. It's a very good engine for the impatient because it's very, 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 very fast. Okay, so let me go to the El Toro, and you can see some of the similar options that you can do for the El Toro. Now, I know you guys have seen some of the things that we've done. So you've got the 2 different bridges. So you've got, you know, this bridge. This is the one that has the single pilot, the three position con. You've seen that one. This is the one that has the side-by-side con that has 4 people. I will try to make some flame decals. I really will. I don't know how good I'll be at it, but I'll give it a shot. So this is like the one that I tend to use more. I like this bridge a little bit better personally. And the bridges have interiors, as you know. The cons have interiors on them. And then, of course, you can contain the engines on and off on the El Toro. The El Toro is a lot more customizable because the stealth ship is very specific to a thing. But here, for example, you can have your engines, you can have no engines, you can have, you know, with or without wings. You know, however you like, really. That's kind of the point, right? And then, of course, all of these can be colored. So let me go ahead and let's grab the body and let's go to the body color so you can see the body color here. And the body has a similar kind of setup to the way the other one is. So you can set it to, you know, your kind of flat gray. You can set it to your pre-mades, and we'll have 4 or 5 pre-mades just like we did before, where you'll be able to pick them out of the ship chooser. But what everybody's really interested in is what can you recolor it to look like, and what are your coloring options and whatnot. So let's go ahead and take a look at the coloring options so that you can see. As you see here, we've got the same kind of thing with the multiple color wheel options. We'll expose a bunch of that in the game itself, so we can just go through and make whatever hideous kind of color combination that you like. Again, you'll be able to put decals on here. So there'll be a decal with maybe the ship's name, if you like, along the sides here. And then there'll be decal probably across the rear that you can put. And then this, of course, is going to be customizable with like add-on parts. You wonder if somebody wants racing stripes? I'm sure racing stripes will definitely be a thing. And of course, the engines and the bridge and the con and all these parts can be customized as well. They all use the exact same material. This whole ship actually paints with one material render pass. That's sort of the point.
Oh my god, watermelon.
So, you know, as Jess was pointing out, you can use the watermelon pattern that I was showing off for the character just a little while ago. Okay, so here's some of the customization options that you get on the ship, right? And then if you look out here and you look at the actual alpha system, you can see that this isn't like a tiny fake, you know, we're screwing with things to make things seem further apart than they are. To a degree, we're shortening distances so that people don't get bored. But these things are actually, you know, a fair distance apart. And because I'm not fighting with physics, I'm fighting with Godot's own physics engine, which is way more flexible. We can actually do things like have much more reasonable distances and have the time between them be more elastic and have it feel like a fast experience, but still feel like you're going fast. And you can see that I've been working on the Rayleigh scattering on the planet. It's still not perfect yet. As you saw, there was some flickering on it where the Rayleigh scattering wasn't working quite right with the ray tracing, but we'll get there. You know, this is still the very first week on the new Godot 4. It just came out, so we'll get there. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. There was something else I wanted to show you. Let me do that real quick before I forget. And let me show off what it looks like with and without ray tracing, right? Because you guys have all seen it with ray tracing. That's how you've seen it right now. Oh yeah, these ships go a lot faster than the Cygnus Pizza Race ships, that's for sure. And don't forget, Cygnus Pizza Race is going to be a race like that will be ported directly in, and you'll have your race ships. So you probably want us to know what this looks like without SDFGI, because we've all seen it with the SDFGI on, right? This is what it looks like with the ray tracing turned on. So let's go ahead and turn ray tracing off, so you can see what it would look like on, say you had a older Intel graphics only video card. In which case I'm sorry for you, but let's just say that you have one, and that's okay. Now, this isn't the version that will be the standard. This is just the version for people who don't have, newer cards, okay? It's going to look like this. This is with SDFGI turned off. So this is your worst case, running it on grandma's laptop version. And in my opinion, it still looks pretty good. I think this is pretty solid, even in the low spec non-ray tracing version. I think we got a pretty solid look here. I appreciate that you want a new PC to see Smugglers in all of its glory. Well, you should be able to see it in most of its glory on the one that you have. That's kind of the point. Is we're aiming for a 1060 as basically our worst case. So you should be able to see it in all of its glory either way. So really, the only difference is whether the ray tracing is turned on or off. And the point of having the ray tracing is that it adds that extra oomph, right? And yeah, it's a little heavier, but not a lot heavier. So I'm actually going to show you guys the difference in how heavy it is. We're going to actually we're going to go ahead and we're going to kick this off here. Whoops. Did I run two of them? No, I ran one. Okay. Okay, so with ray tracing on, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go in and we're going to look at the video RAM and everything that it's using. So let me turn on Profiler here. And this is in debug mode, okay, because we're running it through the debugger. Oh, so let me stop that one. Sorry, this one. Okay, and you can see here what it's actually doing as far as, making sure that this all works and everything. So let me go ahead and start that flying, and we'll head over here. And you can see how little we're actually using of the GPU and the CPU with this rendering. Right, we are just barely touching the power of my laptop with this. Now, my laptop does have a 3060, but the point is, this is why we're able to get 60 frames per second on older computers, and this is purely a Godot thing. We couldn't actually do this before. And if you look by percent, we're actually using it for the correct things, which is the updating and whatnot. But frame time is really what you guys care about, and we should be able to support pretty nearly any major modern system. A higher-end laptop, anything with discrete graphics. You should be able to use the deluxe version with the ray tracing, if you choose to. So let's look at something that makes a bit more sense, because I know that doesn't always make a whole lot of sense as far as what it's doing and what it's using. Let me go ahead and close out of this, and let me launch the actual game here. Let's see, I'll launch the one with the non-spectre. And there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and launch the system profiler so that you guys can see it as a standalone app and see how heavy it is. So you can see right now, by memory consumption, Firefox is using the most RAM on my system. And Smugglers is sitting here at a tidy 500 megs of RAM. Oh, yeah, Dalico, for sure. You can 100% handle it. Yeah, and thank you. I appreciate that, fella. Yeah, we think it's a good-looking game, even on grandma settings. I mean, if your grandma has a discrete video card, it's going to look better. But it should look pretty good on pretty much anything. And as you can see, at 500 megs of RAM, it's not using a tremendous amount of video card memory. It's not using a tremendous amount of any memory. This should fit fairly neatly into most modern systems. I mean, again, no guarantees on Intel HD, but anything like an AMD Vega, a Raytheon, a NVIDIA, anything, it should look really amazing. So then if you look at, let's go to processes here. Let me go ahead and take a look. You can see that we're actually only using a tiny, tiny amount of memory on the process. And if we run the history of it here, you can see that we're using barely any CPU. That's actually the funniest thing about this thing, is even when you're flying around and doing crazy stuff. Let's get some complicated ray tracing updates for it to cope with here. There we go. Get those reflections moving around. Okay. You can see that we're not even tipping the clock on processor. Right? It's not even interesting as far as processor goes. And when we come over here to applications and we keep an eye on it, you can see it's just not really hitting anything, right? And that is sort of the point. We want to not actually have it be too heavy a thing with too much impact on a system. We want it to be as light as possible so that it can run, I don't remember which one is GPU, so that we can run as much as possible of it and support as many people as possible. Okay, so I think we've covered Smugglers of Cygnus to death here. Go ahead and close out of it. Okay. So, well, thank you, fella, for that. Yeah, that you think it's a well-made game, insofar as to allow as many people to play it on top-end systems. Yes, and yeah, thank you, Dalico, for confirming that with your test. Please, please, please go to the forum. Let me drop the link. Go to the forum and let me know what your frame rate is and what your specs are, so that we know how well it's doing. Let me drop the link to that here in the chat, because that is something that we definitely need. Let me make sure I type it in there. So that link right there is going to only work for people who are backers and people who are former pizza racers, anybody who's been involved in the project for a while, basically. So it's basically up as a firewall for bots, just to keep the the general bot miners and whatever from grabbing the files before they're ready. Any human should be able to have access to that without any real difficulty. So, if you're trying to get access to the backer alpha and you can't for some reason, let me know. Okay, just send me a ping on Mastodon. Let me know on Patreon. Whatever, let me know, and I'll make sure that you can get access to it. Okay, now, moving on to Legends of Luisa Llama, which I know is what everybody really came here for in the first place, right? Because I know you're all really here for the llama, because the llama is so much cuter than everybody else. So, let me go over to Luisa Llama. And let's look at the latest update for Luisa Llama, and then I'm going to actually show off a little tiny bit of the work in progress that we've been doing on the levels beyond what's in the demo. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at the demo with the new updated art. And of course, you can tell we've got our splash screen going on here. And let's go ahead and move it to windowed mode so that I can see it more easily. So, as you know, we added the ability to switch between windowed and full screen modes on it. We added a volume slider for it. So these are things you're all quite aware of. Oh, and let me turn the music on for it, because I had the music muted, because it drives my dog completely nuts. Okay. So this is also fully gamepad compatible. And as you can see, it automatically detects that I have a gamepad and switches to using the gamepad for next and whatnot. Wait, this is not the version with the updated art. Why am I running the old version? I'm running the wrong version of the game! Oh my god, that is such a rookie mistake. Where's the new version? Oh, silly me. The new version is in the demo. Well, if you'll excuse me for being silly for a minute there. So there was the old version graphics. Hey, welcome to Spazio. How you doing? It is very nice to see you again.
Yay.
I hope you got a chance to see some of your beautiful artwork on the station and the ship there. So as you all may or may not know, Despazio is the artist who was responsible for the look and feel for the Cerebs and the AIs, well, mostly the AIs, in Smugglers of Cygnus, and did that beautiful El Toro ship for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look, and like I said, as you can see, we've got the windowed mode and all that kind of good stuff. And the volume control and all that. Okay, so now the demo, but with the updated art this time. And let me make it full screen, but windowed so I can actually get to the chat. Oh, you haven't even played the Llama game yet? Oh, that's too funny. Okay, so you can see the art's been upgraded pretty substantially in this, and the artist, of course, for this is Jess. She's done all of the artwork for this, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it's all completely done in SVG, so it's all scalable vector graphic art, which means that we can actually port this to any platform at any resolution and have it look just utterly crisp. So I'm just going to go ahead and destroy these cacti here. Okay, and now Luisa is off on her adventure. And I'm going to go show you guys one of the secrets. I'm going to show you how to collect one of the golden llamas first off. Oh no, we're being attacked by Jen. Yeah, take that. So if you go over to the island over here, you will see that there is a healing weed and a golden llama. And as you can see, the golden llama actually gives you an extra llama and increases the amount of hit points that you can have, as well as giving you a quick heal. So those things are worth collecting. There is a golden llama on every single level, so I highly recommend you collect them. Okay, and we'll go over here and we'll talk to Mama real quick, just so you can see some more of the upgraded artwork. I'm going to go to the next level. And you guys all know the story and plot, so I'm not gonna read the story and plot out. This isn't a stream of this. We're just showing off some of the features. And then of course you got B to heal. So if you hurt yourself on some cacti, you can then just heal yourself back up again. Yep. And I used up all of my healing weed. I better go grab some more. Okay. Call an ambulance, but not for me. Oh, well, thank you for dropping by, Adalical. Have an awesome day. And, of course, you can always catch up with the rest of the stream later. Okay, so here we're going to get this main guy. And then we're going to go up to the top level just so you can see some more of the new artwork. I'm sorry, did I break your concentration? Okay, and we're going to take on off here, out here. And then, after I show off some of the artwork here, then we're going to show off a little tiny bit of the new levels. Okay. And you can either click to go through that screen faster, or you can wait for it to time out and just simply send you to the next screen. So, I'll give you a hint about the golden llama here. The golden llama's on the other side of the stream, just so you know. So the stairs were, of course, reworked by Jess just recently. Well, along with the plants and whatnot. And she reworked the logs. And as you can see, if we go check this out, you can see that the Llama Public Works is very realistic. This bridge was supposed to have been completed in '92. They're a little behind, but then of course they don't have hands. So I mean, you can only do so much with your mouth, right? And then she reworked the snow, and she reworked the snow on the plants. Okay, but now we're going to go beyond the cave. And we're going to go check out a little preview, just a little preview, of what we're currently working on in the next level. So let me go ahead and jump into Godot, the current version. Well, the previous version, I should say. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and jump into the cave and give you guys just a brief feel of what the cave looks like. So as you can see in the cave, we're using our hat of fire as illumination. And if you turn off the hat, things go poorly for you. As she says, you should probably put your hat on. And as you can see, the fireballs light up. And you've also got these cool new pots, some of which have stuff in them. Yes, Jess is the one who's doing all the artwork for it. There's one of our mobs. And as she says, there's no bell here, there's just a frayed string left. So Luisa can't cross because the bell must have fallen in. There's nothing there. So this is, as you can see, one of the many puzzles you're going to run into when you're down here in the main part of the caves. There's going to be puzzles added. Pretty spooky in here. Yes, indeed. Oh, I bet some kind of magic hat would help here. But apparently not the one you've got, so looks like getting that next hat's going to be important. Somehow I was expecting torches. Right? You'd think, huh? There's another bridge. So, as you can see, there's a lot more coming. And we are working on it, and it will be done when it's done. Soon, really, but we're definitely working on it. Jess is actually way ahead of me on artwork right now, so I'm the one who's slacking because it's taking me forever to build the complicated puzzles and things that go into it. And there's quite a lot of puzzles, actually. There's puzzles with things you have to collect. You have to collect parts for some puzzles. There's puzzles that are levers you have to throw that will cause things to happen. There's all kinds of good stuff like that. So you guys will have fun with that. There's things like rotating bridges and places where you have to outsmart, bad guys and all kinds of cool stuff. And lots of dialogue and interesting characters to run into. So hopefully you enjoy those. Okay, so that is the update on Legends of Luisa Llama. The demo for that, of course, is available right now. You can go check it out anytime you like. Let me go ahead and drop the link for the Luisa Llama demo. There you go. There's the link for the Legends of Luisa Llama demo if you want to get a hold of it. And then, of course, let me go ahead and drop the link for the Smugglers demo. Even though, of course, Smugglers right now, the early access demo is still back on patch 10, because we're not ready to jump into the Godot one yet until I'm at the same point. So, as you saw from what we were working on, where's my mouse? There it is. As you saw from what we were working on, I haven't put the UI in yet, and I haven't added the first person running around bit yet, though I'm going to show you the first-person character here in a minute. So once the feature set matches to where patch 10 was, we will go ahead and move to patch 10B, which will be patch 10 but on Godot. I just don't want to have a patch 10B come out that's behind where patch 10 was. That would seem kind of odd, right? So it's coming. And it's coming soon, actually, because now that we can start adding the code, now that we've reached, Godot 4 is released, we can do that. So let me go ahead and show you the character and some customization options that you can do on one of the characters. I haven't imported all of the species yet, only a couple of them. And here you can see this is actually literally the set that I produced in order to do the wallpaper. All the wallpapers are always done in Engine. They're never faked in Photoshop or anything like that, except obviously the blueprint ones, which are supposed to be, right? Okay, so as you can see, here's one of the AI characters. Now, there's several different models of AIs, as you know. This is one of them. And as you can see, there's places for you to put your logo. Like, here's Adalical's logo right there on the chest of the AI. You'll be able to put decals pretty much all over. These are vector painted, just like the ships are, so you can colorize them however you like. This, for example, is the red and blue colorizing for it. Let me go ahead and change out to some of the others just to show you the general concept. Let's switch to like the black and red color pattern, for example. There you go. There's the black and red one. Here's a lavender kind of synth wavy one, if you like. There it is in the red and blue. Here is the watermelon one. See, so you can do it in all kinds of different things. And again, just like the other ones, it's got the exact same ability to use a color wheel. So you'll have a paint shop in the game where you can customize your character. Even though you won't see yourself very often, you'll be able to customize your character and set them up however you like, really. Because, that's an important thing. Now, we haven't gotten, as you can see from the fact there's only one here in characters, we haven't gotten the other characters ported in yet. This was the first one that I got ported, built, and rigged into Godot. The other ones will be coming along here soon. And you will be set to go. We've got a update to the Cereb character that I think looks a bit more, on brand for us. We've got the really cute little AI that you guys can play or employ. I think that one's really, really adorable. And then we've got the this AI, and then we've got the floating shell, which is also really cool. As far as the people who are asking me when the Mastellan space otter species is coming in to the game, the answer is as soon as I get good enough at rigging to do that, because rigging an otter is complicated. And I'm not good at rigging. So, soon. That's all I can say. Soon. Okay. So I believe that was the last thing that needed to be covered. Let's see. Oh, I might as well cover the interiors. So let's take a quick look at the interior of one of the stations so you can see what the new interior looks like. Because I don't believe I showed anybody the station interiors yet. So here's a first look at a station interior. Let me go ahead and, oh wait, no, that's the material. Let me go ahead and jump to, here we go. Here's the interior of the station. Oops, that's way too fast. That's what I want. Here's the interior of the station. As you can see, I've gone with kind of a domed roof that looks like it fits in with the general motif. We've got this really lovely, I think it's a good sci-fi look because I think it's it looks more like a really modern European train station or something like that, less like a big tangled visual mess. And this is based partially on some design work done by a really nice Ukrainian guy. His name eludes me at the moment, but it's It's credited in the thing, of course, because I like to always make sure I credit people. And then I made this great carpet texture for the floor because I think it's more friendly than the old, like, clanky-looking rubberized floor. We still have the high-density floors in here, but I felt that like the open spaces needed more of a carpeting kind of feel, so I made a carpet texture for those. So it's a very nice, lovely, warm space. And it's a lot friendlier and a lot more welcoming, I feel, than what we had for the previous one. But the previous one was, after all, a stand-in. This is still missing some lighting. There's going to be lights put along the pieces here where the black edges are. There's going to be lighting. See, I'm not sure if I have a camera in here for anyone to see. I do. Okay. So you can see this is what it looks like with the ray tracing and everything turned on. You can see the actual lights coming down and the reflection of the lights off the bottom and everything. Okay, so that's the interior that we had not had a chance to really show off in any detail yet. And then, of course, we've got the task board in all of its glory. And the task boards, of course, are the same as the tablets that people carry around, just much, much larger, which is more or less how they are today. So I felt that that was something that would probably be carried on. Okay, I think that pretty much covers the important new stuff that I needed to cover for this stream. So I'll go ahead and turn it over for any questions that anybody has. Let me go ahead and kick off the game, so we'll have the game running in the background here, so it looks, you know, like something cool while we take questions. So anybody who's got any questions, just go ahead and bring them up, and we will start answering any questions. Let's see, I'll bring up the, well, let's see, since Despazio's here, I will bring up the one that has Despazio's ship in it. There. Okay, so let me go ahead and make this full screen here. There we go. All right, folks. So go ahead and hit with any questions that you've got going on here. And I realize there's about a good 30-second delay, so I'm going to go ahead and run through this. And in fact, let me go ahead and get some soundtrack going for it while we do that. And then we will play some soundtrack out while we take any questions that you happen to have. Okay, so the first question is from Despazio, who asks, how's working with the decal shader in Godot? The decal shader in Godot works pretty much exactly the same as a decal shader in Unreal does, which is to say it has an albedo, it has an albedo, a normal map, and a emissive map, and you just basically put the textures on it. The only difference is that it supports transparencies a little bit differently and a little bit better, I would say. The emissive map does not support transparency. It turns white. So you need to use black for the emissive map. But the albedo shader uses standard standard transparencies and whatnot. So you'll see, for example, your decals that you made for the station here, you know, just come across pretty much perfectly. And this is with ray tracing on and everything, and they just look gorgeous. Okay, the second question. So what's the next lot of updates that you'll be working on after this current work? Oh, and the station interior looked really nice. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. The station interior was a lot of fun to work on, I think. So the next lot of updates, we're going to get the UI done. My next priority is the first-person controller, which is pretty rudimentary right now, and the UI controls. So, as you notice right now, there's no speedo, there's no nothing. Your ship doesn't really quite point in the direction that you're going. You know, there's a few issues like that. So we'll be getting that fixed, we'll be getting the UI fixed so that the task board has the proper UI, so that this screen right here has the proper UI. That will be the next set of updates that are coming in place. But I think that hopefully that answers that question. We'll be releasing a patch 10A once you can have a UI and grab tasks. No chance of flying into an asteroid and going splat. I have not actually added the asteroid belt yet. So the asteroid belt is... I was working on it, in fact. The asteroid belt was part of what I was working on in order to do the wallpaper. But it's not complete yet. And yes, it will definitely give you a chance of running into that and going splat. So don't worry, you'll have every chance in the world to crash into things. Okay, let's see. Next question from fella. What's been the most frustrating thing to work on so far to get the game to its current state? I would say the things that have given me the most frustration have been particles. Particles are really a challenging thing from a technical standpoint. And I would say that other than particles, probably the other biggest technical challenge is the little stuff that should work but doesn't quite work, right? Like, for example, things that give you little weird visual aberrations that shouldn't be there, but everything is correct. So it's one of those things that you either are going to have to fix as a bug, or you're just going to have to work around. Like, one of the things that bugs a lot of people is with the anti-aliasing shaders. Like, right now we're using MSAA, and MSAA does a pretty good job. It's not bad at all. But there are a few little visual artifacts from MSAA that do bug me a bit. So, you know, sometimes you get stuff like that. So I would call that the most frustrating, is the things that should work are implemented correctly and don't quite work. Of course, the other thing, obviously, as always, advertising, marketing, and getting people to actually, you know, look at the game. We've been looking for a publisher for this game for 2.5 years. Yeah, see, like there, for example, is an example of a shader on the planet that should be working and isn't quite. But that's okay. What I probably should do is turn off the atmosphere when we're 80,000 kilometers away. That would probably be the better solution, rather than letting it try to figure it out. But yeah, you know, getting the marketing and the publisher stuff, because publishers, for some reason, despite us reaching out to them, just haven't bothered to get back to us on anything. So that's also frustrating, but that's just a frustrating with game development in general. Well, and writing and music and every other thing. Yeah, I'll have that turned off here before too long, because what it's doing is that is the attempt for the. In fact, if we fly towards it, you'll see it resolve itself. That is the Raleigh scattering attempting to resolve itself when it's too far away for it to correctly resolve itself. And when you're closer, it's not a problem. But there's like an interim distance where it's effectively Z-fighting, and I need to fix that. What I'll probably do is turn it off when you're beyond a certain distance, because you're not going to be able to see it anyways. Right, sometimes people build planets with like these enormous atmospheres that are like 10,000 miles tall, because they think that they should look like that. And I'm really more about doing it physics-based, so the atmosphere is the appropriate thickness to a planet, and I still exaggerate it a little bit, but not like hugely. Yeah, I exaggerate enough that you can really see it, but if people think it looks like it does from the ISS, and forget that the ISS is actually in the atmosphere. It's just in the upper atmosphere. Like when I have my going offline screen, you'll see what Raleigh scattering is supposed to look like when you're really, really close to a planet. Like within, 50 miles or 100 miles. And obviously you don't want to get that close to a planet in a game like this, because you'll crash. Right, you're going way too fast. Oh, also you can tell that the little moon is not implemented yet. But we'll get there. I wanted to get the atmosphere working properly first. So right now we are heading towards the planet as fast as we possibly can with this current implementation, but because there's no UI, you can't really tell. It's just slowly getting bigger. Oh good, well thank you very much. I'm glad that you appreciate that it's coming along nicely. If anybody else has any questions, you can go ahead and send them to us on Patreon. You can send them to us on the forum. You can send them to us in Element. You can send them to us on the Fediverse. We have a million ways to contact us. If you like the wallpapers of the month, if you like the backer previews, if you like the custom stuff like that, make sure to drop $1 on the Patreon, and then you too can have your logo appear on your ship in the game before it even comes out. There'll be a lot of cool perks like that, and don't forget, everybody who bought Cygnus Pizza Race, we will be picking up the file from Cygnus Pizza Race so that you will actually have Cygnus Pizza Race ships, like the Championship, also designed by the amazing Despazio there, available in Smugglers of Cygnus. You'll be able to actually have that ship as one of the ships that you get. And you'll get a special title, actually, in this game as well. Characters will know who you are as being a celebrity. Even if you weren't any good at Cygnus Pizza Race, don't worry, you'll still be a celebrity, because most of the trillions of beings in the Cygnus galaxy never raced at all. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let it approach the planet here for a minute while I wait to see if there's any more questions, and then we will go offline. And thank you all so much for being here for this update, and I can't wait to give you the patch 10B on Godot 4 update that will be on itch for everyone to check out. That will be really cool, and I'm really looking forward to it. In answer to your question there, fella, yes, Despazio is responsible for the design of most of the better ships in the Cygnus Pizza Race. As the designer for the AI, he basically created an entire language system and art system and cultural visual representation of the culture that Jess created. So there's a lot of iconography, there's a lot of really beautiful AI culture that will be shared with players here before too long. This happens to be a Cereb station, so there isn't as much of the AI stuff on it. But the first AI stuff will be really quite noticeable. It's a very dramatically different feel from the Cereb stuff. And yeah, he just did an absolutely wonderful job, and I'm happy to see him drop by for the stream to get some of the accolades for it. And as we approach, you can see the texture on the planet rotating there. That's how UV work, actually. We're not rotating the actual planet, so it's actually cheaper than that. We're actually just rotating the UVs on it, which is really, really cheap. All those little performance tweaks that people say is so hard to do, but actually they're really not. You just have to do all of them. The performance tweaks that are hard are things like making sure that an entire ship like this is only a couple of screen draws. That's the hard part. And then, of course, the music that you're hearing right now is actually from the game. And this particular track is by David C. Hevitt. And this album that this is on is one of the backup rewards on the Patreon, as is Hexencraft's album, of course. Okay, so we're getting close enough now that you can just barely see the atmosphere showing up on the planet here. If I had actually thought ahead, I would have made the ship faster, or simply put the planet closer to do that on the stream here. Yeah, so you can just see the rim of the atmosphere there around the edges where the light's reflecting off it slightly, and it'll be a bit more obvious and a bit more blue when we get up to it. Okay, and I think everyone's had a chance to ask their questions, so we're going to go ahead and go offline here. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for being part of this project. I am extremely grateful to all of you for your help and for your patience and your support as we have run through all of these varying things. And again, like I said, anybody who has any further questions, you can feel free to talk to us on Element or on the Fediverse or on our forum or any place that you want to get a hold of us. And we will always be happy to answer your questions and chat at you. So thank you all so much, and we will see you next time.